Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your Lookah Seahorse X Diamond Dab of the Day. We are going to do the Nectar Collector today. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, send a like, and I reply to all the nice comments. Let's get started with today's topic. Wouldn't it be nice if you could get along with anybody? Well, guess what? We have acid tongue, don't we? Well, guess what? We have to overcome the urge to use our acid tongue and follow the rules for getting along with anyone. Let's discuss. There are definitely times that you want to lash out at someone who makes your life miserable. Could be a work colleague, could be your closest intimate partner. For lack of a better word, people are mean sometimes. You often feel attacked, outraged, and misunderstood. Worse, you can feel like you've got hit by a brick wall and you're not being heard or taken seriously. Well, acid communication is what it's called. That is what happens when people who feel angered and mistreated restrain themselves from expressing how they truly feel. The person who performs acid communication is feeling angry due to some feeling of injustice and would like to express one's anger, but cannot do so due to a feeling of impotence, both to recover from the injustice that they've undergone and to prevent the negative consequences of their expression. It's actually passive aggressiveness. You want to say something negative, but because you feel you can't, for whatever reason, you release your anger in indirect ways. So, what you want to do is you want to project the image of a smart and brilliant person. Think about it. People can also use body language to establish and accomplish the same goals through gestures, facial expressions, and movements of the head and body. We've all been guilty of that at some time or another. You feel attacked and don't want to say anything, so instead you purse your lips, fold your arms, and roll your eyes upward. Well, guess what? There are things called proactive emotions, like hate, revenge, contempt, jealousy, envy. And there are passive emotions like that are like helplessness, bitterness, and resentment. So what happens is people feel nervous, angry, and afraid to come out with their actual feelings or true responses. They don't seem to be received well by persons. They don't feel like they're accepted. They're irritable, grumpy, arrogant, surly, rude, not helpful, and snappy. What's even worse is it can put you in a bad mood about yourself. So what happens is the best way to avoid being one of these people is to express yourself as directly and openly as you can. But ironically, we might fear doing that because we'll fear we're being perceived as overly critical or argumentative. It's kind of a bind. So instead of being in the bind, you got to find kind of a way to engage in what's called fruitful dialogue. That's the bottom line. Difficult dialogue sometimes. That's right. So you don't want to dominate. You don't want it to be a monologue when you're having a conversation. It has to be give and take. You got to be patient and give others a chance to express themselves. Some people are slower than others to join in commentary. Whether you're with one person or with 50, you got to pause between your own sentences to allow others to collect their thoughts and put them into words. Do not interrupt. It's one of the surest ways to infuriate conversational partners. Although some people make awkward pauses in their speech and seem to go on too long, we've still got to find a way to let the conversation flow. Try not to make speeches. Just as we shouldn't interrupt others, don't make it impossible for people to comment on what you're saying. Think of a conversation as a written log If your comments would occupy an entire page at one time, you probably got to provide some breaks, like paragraphs. Frame your comments to allow opportunities for interaction. You see, using occasional questions, what do you think? Does it make sense? And pulling your views in the form of I statements will allow your conversation partners to feel invited to speak and less likely to lash out. You always have to respect opinions and demonstrate that viewpoints are important. Listen to each other with respect and an open mind. Show that we're able to appreciate what others have to say rather than frowning and looking impatient when someone expresses something we might not agree with. An open face communicates an open mind. We need to recognize that disagreement is okay. Not everyone has the same opinion. And by accepting that there are views divergent from our own, we're allowing our partners to express what he or she have to say. Remember, all perspectives are valued. Stating explicitly that you value differing perspectives and then acting as if you do will reduce the chances of your appearing acid-like in your conversation. Everyone needs to be encouraged to participate, and that includes us. So we cannot allow our thoughts and opinions to go unheard. Just as we want to encourage others to speak up when they have a perspective to offer, we shouldn't feel that we have to restrain ourselves. If we stifle our opinions, they'll only leak out later in an unproductive way. You see, it's okay to change the subject in the midst of a debate or a dialogue. You may feel that an important topic is being overlooked. Explicitly stating why we want to change the subject will help prevent the perception by others that we're simply barreling into the conversation, interrupting, and being impolite. We have to remember that moderators are facilitators, not participants, keeping things going rather than dominating the scene. If chosen to lead a group discussion, don't take advantage of the situation by running the show. Instead, try to pay close attention to the flow of topics among the participants, and maybe choose speakers in a fair and agreed upon manner, such as in order of speakers raising their hands. Use our expertise when asked. It's possible that we're leading a group because we're the person charged with its smooth functioning. We are. When someone requests our opinion or asks for our help, it's okay to volunteer it, as long as you do it without making others feel like they don't know as much as we do. You see, sometimes our best thinking comes after reflection. Reflection helps bring psychological closure, for example, to a dialogue. It allows us to ask ourselves questions after the conversation's over, such as, how has our thinking about an issue changed since that conversation? How has our thinking about people's views changed since that conversation? And being a good conversationalist is slightly different from being someone who can engage in dialogue. The kind of dialogue in which people feel valued, listened to, and respected, because you see, that's the kind that produces the greatest strides for us and fulfillment in ourselves and in our dialogue partners. You see, getting along with anyone is not that difficult. We can do it. It's something you just got to practice. Remember that term, bull in a china shop? Come on, we've all heard the term, bull in a china shop. Well, think of it in a social situation. Think of the bull. I used to be the bull. The bull's the person that walks into the room, and regardless of how many people are having conversations around that person, they start talking. Hey, I'm here. Hey, how are you? Well, guess what? That person's probably not going to be that popular that long. Well, I truly hope you enjoyed today's discussion. I think it's very interesting. As always, if you do, you know what to do. Send a like my way. Join the family, and I respond to all the comments. You see this nice dab on this spoon tip? We're now going to turn the spoon tip into the dab tip. Here we go. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining me. You all have a wonderful day out there today. Cheers. Tasty. Oh my. Thanks for joining me with the Lookah X, Seahorse X, that does everything. Today, we've been doing honey dipping. Have a great day, everybody, and thanks so much once again for joining the Real Senior Stoner. Remember, you can get along with anyone. Cheers.